So many crashes. Well, that was a week. Daytona. Wow, what a track. We started out with a iRating of 975. We did get that up to 1155. So hey, we made some progress in the iRating department. Safety rating, quite the opposite. We traded one for the other. We went from an A 3.17 down to an A 2.54. Somewhere in the middle, we were at a 1.1 something. So yeah, if that tells you anything, we'll get into it. Our best time here at Daytona, we started out with a 149.193 on our best lap for our first race. We got that down to a 146.701 in practice and a 146.001 during a race. So quite a bit of improvement there. Kind of fits with the way that things go for me when I do a track that I've not done before. Series standings in the fixed Fanatec GT3 series. This week we were 197th place with an average start of 7th and an average finish of 8th. Pretty standard for us overall. Same start and finish places. P64 though in the overall standings, so we're slowly climbing just by showing up. With the VRS Sprint Series, this week we placed 105th in our division with an average start of 15th, an average finish of 11th. And then overall, we're 81st place with an average start of 14th and average finish of 13th. I'm a little encouraged by this, seeing as we're finishing higher than we start. Not sure what that says, but I think it's good. And we did another endurance race with Daniel Grade 10 as our co-driver. Did a lot better this time. This week we placed second, or I placed second in my division. I don't know how Daniel placed in his, but we started in P29. I kind of kept the car in one piece, and he got us all the way up to finishing in 6th place. With just some amazing driving on some pretty dead tires by the end. Overall, I'm 14th place in my division with an average start of 20th and average finish of 15th. That's with the 2 races. We're gonna try and do some more, but timing it out, like when there's only 3 of those races a week, and with the different continents involved, I don't know how often we'll be able to do it. Work for me kind of interferes with the ability to do those. So I kind of want to talk about how this week went for me, and hopefully give some relevance for some other people out there who may be having similar issues to what I have had here this week. This was a pretty messy week racing wise for me. Some of it was my fault. Like I had plenty of off tracks, plenty of spins and whatnot. I'm not used to Daytona. This is the first time I've ever really run it in earnest. So not knowing the track and kind of figuring out what I can get away with and where I need to hold back a little bit without knowing it well enough yet took some doing. But the other issue was other people. We got banged into a lot. There's a few turns right on the first lap that you have to be super careful of in most of these races. Turn 1 is really tricky no matter what the lap is, and on the first lap, especially with all those cars piling into it, it gets tough. And then the turn after that, I think it's International Horseshoe, caused some chaos as well. I'm going to use some incidents from one of the most egregious race that I had, or at least it felt that way to me. First time through International Horseshoe in this, there was a Mercedes that I think, looking back at it, got hit by another car here and got spun out into me. To me, it looked like he just kind of went into that other car and bounced, and just yeeted the other direction and right into me, and that got me off to a really bad headspace in the start. And then several laps later, we were going through that same corner, and there was a Ferrari that just totally whiffed the braking point and kind of did a pit maneuver on me. The front of my car is missing by this point from that first incident. So I'm just trying my little heart out to make up time, keep my times as good as possible. And then towards the end of the race, I'm coming into the last corner. We just passed this BMW on one of the big banked parts of the oval, and coming down into the first corner, he hits me in the driver's side rear quarter and knocks me off track, which frustrated me quite a bit. But then, and I don't know how much of this is my fault and how much of it was just a racing incident, how much of it was him. I'm not sure what he was trying to do, but to me it appeared that he had just kept going straight instead of trying to turn in, and I was trying to get back on track. I had figured he'd be long gone by that point, but he just kept going in a straight line, apparently braking or almost stopping. But by that point, I'm usually, I think if you tune into the streams, pretty forgiving when it comes to racing incidents, but I was at the limit of my tolerance by the end of this race. And I just, like, the whole week, stuff like this had been happening, not all in the same race, but like one or two of these, and then throwing my own goof ups in the middle, and I was just, I had almost just had it at this point. The next day was a lot better. We ended up getting a couple P2s on the last day we did racing. That gets me to my point. If you're like me and you've got to kind of try and remember why you're doing this. I'm still what I would consider a novice at this whole sim racing thing. I'm doing this to try and improve. And I know that I don't know this track well. I know that I'm working hard at trying to get better, and this is part of the learning process. In addition to learning the track here, I'm honing my ability to navigate other cars and other people and other people's foibles. I'm also learning to not get too tilted by things that it affects my driving so much. I think that's a big part of performing any skill well, is being in the right headspace. You can't be what I like to call, many people like to call, tilted and do your best. You're aggravated and you're going to make mistakes because you're in your own head and not paying attention to what you're doing. The best times you're going to have is when you're in the zone. For such a cliched term, it works. You're kind of in outside your own head and just focused in on the task at hand, and letting the instincts that you've built up through repetition and practice and all those hours that you've put in doing it take over. And that takes time. We've got, I don't know, I could probably figure out how much time I've driven. Maybe that'll be a fun thing to do at some point here, but I don't have all the time in it that I need to be able to have it be second nature. It's getting there. We're getting there, but it's not 100% there yet. But anyway, I hope that that's helpful to some folks out there if they're getting frustrated with other drivers, or lack of progression, or lack of perceived progression. Because like, if you're trying at it and you're not practicing really bad behaviors, you're gonna be getting better. It's just, it takes time and progression is slow. That's the whole point of Project Git Gud, is taking a long-term approach to skill acquisition, building, something like that. But that's what we're doing. That's why we're here. That's why we're doing it. And track knowledge goes a long way towards that too. That was kind of my second point that I wanted to bring up, is that once you know the track and you're able to navigate the track, it becomes a lot easier for that part to become second nature, and you're able to more focus on the other skills that you're trying to work on, which is in this case dodging accidents, which I feel like I've gotten better at. Not good enough apparently, but we're working on it. So next week is Daytona's in the rearview mirror. Thank goodness. It's not what we're focused on anymore. Next week is going to take us to Lime Rock Park in these GT3 cars. That is an awfully small track for a lot of fast cars. We'll see how it goes. I know the track fairly well, I'd like to think. We'll see how we do as far as dodging the bottom split, folks. And then I think I thought last week was going to be Summit Point for the TCRs. It's actually this week. So we may kick around some Summit Point races, because I need to get back used to the TCR, because that's what we're going to be running in the Nürburgring 24, which also means I need to get some practice, probably off stream, maybe on doing some Nürburgring in that TCR. As always, there's a subscribe button down below. There's a bell button, ring it. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Those are the most important ones, whether or not you like the video. And then, as always, head on over to twitch.tv/thepiltdownman if you want to hang out live. And we'll see you then. Bye.